Section 230, Article 230, is a well-regarded law. It basically states that no website can be held reliable for content that its users make. There are some limitations to it, but for the most part, that's all it says. Now, conservatives thinks that somehow that this law separates publishers from, a public forum or whatever, but it really doesn't. It just states the following, that if you own a website and you allow third-party people to post to it, you're not responsible for what they say. You are not the publisher of their content. You just are allowing them to make their content. Now, some people think that as soon as you moderate it, that you become the publisher of the content. That's not what happens. In fact, Article 230 has a section in it that allows you to moderate to your heart's content. Even constitutionally protected content you can moderate away. So, conservatives seem to not get that. They didn't get the memo. But it makes no claim for neutrality, and it doesn't separate publishers from forums. It just doesn't. Companies cannot be compelled to protect your freedom of speech. It's not their job. The First Amendments only apply to governments. They do not apply to companies. Now, they do, on the caveat, apply to company towns, corporate towns. Corporate towns don't even exist anymore. But when they did, it stated that the parts of the corporation that function as a town, its post office, schools, things like that, are and do have First Amendment protections. That's it. YouTube is not a corporate town. You don't live at YouTube. You're not forced to go to a YouTube school. YouTube isn't forcing you to do anything. In a corporate town, you are forced. Because, you could move. You can get a new job. But as long as you live in the corporate town, you're basically limited to corporate resources. So, of course, you're going to have First Amendment protections in those towns. Because it's the only thing that makes sense. It's the only thing that could happen. But that's the only thing. The only situation where a corporation has to obey the First Amendment. They're not governments. They don't have to. You don't have a freedom of speech at YouTube or Facebook or anywhere else. They have rules and forums, and if you break those rules, you get to boot the fuck out. In the same way that I have the liberty of kicking out my racist uncle at a barbecue or something, YouTube has the freedom to moderate who the hell they want on their site. Because their site is their property. Just like how I have the right, as I said, to kick out whoever the hell I want off my property. So no, you do not have the right to use YouTube, or you don't have the freedom of speech to post whatever the hell you want. Article 230 just allows YouTube not to be held responsible to the dipshit shit that you say. That's it. That's all it does, really. It does not compel YouTube to be neutral or allow you to say whatever the heck you want. That's just not what it was for or what it is. So, this video is already getting to about 5 minutes long, so I'm going to summarize real fast. Article 230 allows YouTube to host any third-party content without any legal repercussions. Article 230 does not allow you to have the freedom to post whatever you want. Article 230 protections cannot be revoked because that's not how the law was written or how it works. It works basically with these two questions. Can a third party post on your website? If they can, Article 230 comes into effect. If they can't, it's too bad. So, Article 230 applies in that situation. It allows people to narrate their content to however the hell they please. So it allows me, for an example, if I was going to make a website, I could make theleft.com. And anyone that says they're Republican, I can moderate them out of my website. It's perfectly legal because you're allowed to moderate constitutionally protected speech because you're not a government, you're a company. And then finally, last one. There's no such thing as the government being able to compel me to give people freedoms of speech. Article 230 allows websites and people the ability to host a website without being held legally responsible for the things that people do on my website or my web service. That's it. So the next time YouTube shuts down a liberal or a conservative and they throw a hissy fit, just remember, companies are not required to honor your freedom of speech because they're not the government and they have their own freedom of speech. And maybe they don't want to hear the shit that you say, or maybe they don't want your content on their site because it goes against what their edicts are or what they believe. And that's why, honestly, Article 230 is not going to go anywhere.